What up?
Good afternoon.
How we doing, party people? Happy Monday. Happy Monday.
Is that my fathom? I'll kick him out of here. Yeah, it is.
That I'm letting all the fathoms in today. Whoever made
Oh, it's a party.
it. What's up, guys? Who's got Monday night wins? What do we got?
Big win is seeing Jonathan Widrick in here. What's up, brother?
What's up, Jack? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
The boys. Dude, who has a personal and professional win? Mindset win.
I have a massive personal win. Over the last decade, I have been overcoming 5 of 6 major health issues, and I just identified the sixth one. So, as I work on getting treated over the next few months, next year I will be unstoppable.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Who else? Who else, fellas? My goodness. Who has a win? Jonathan, what's your win, man?
Started doing ice baths again, and they've just been giving me a killer start to my morning. Feels amazing.
You do it every morning?
I do it every morning for 5 minutes, 40 degrees.
Dang, bruh. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
That'll wake you up. Awesome. Um, we'll let some more people file in as they do. But who has sales related questions before we do call review?
When the prospect's kind of saying yes to everything, but you feel like they're saying yes too easily, what's something you can do to kind of, I guess, temperature check them? Because I
Hey,
just got off the
Jonathan.
sales. Yeah.
Um, man, I hear what you're saying, but I don't necessarily believe what you're saying. Because like the writing on the wall is X, and this has been going on for X time frame. You know what I mean? So that's an example. I mean, it just depends on where you're at in the conversation. Where were you?
Yeah, we've gone through quite a bit. She got past pain. I felt like those were real reasons. I asked if there's now is the time to make a change. I asked why. She had a good reason as to why it was now. And then we got to price and everything. And she's like, yeah, I think this course can help me, but I just need to keep looking. And I was like, well, why do you feel like it can though? And then she gave me specific reasons why it could. And then she just kept wanting to keep looking. And I couldn't figure out. I sat with her for 30 minutes, dude. We did every objection possible. It was fear, it was money, like nothing could help her. And I felt defeated.
Sounds like a great call to review. Really. No, and dude,
Yeah. Okay.
like the way that you feel, the
It's tough.
frustration, the um feeling like you're better than that, feeling like you should have got it done, it's
Yeah.
good. It's great. It means that you know there's more in the tank, and it means that you know that you should be better, right? Which is how you should feel. You should never feel like you've made it. I don't feel like I've made it. I wake up every day and it's like I could lose all this tomorrow, it could all be gone. And that's just the truth. But I'm sure there were things in the conversation that were awesome. I think sometimes in sales, like we're too outcome dependent. And obviously we all want to make a ton of money. We all want to help a ton of people, right? Like I'm not unaware of that. But at the same time, we'll take a whole call where we did a tremendous amount right. And we made a tremendous amount of progress with the conversations that we had. And the end wasn't favorable. So it's like, oh, I must suck at this. You'd be surprised like the amount of closers that will come to me and they've done 100K months or 250 grand in cash collected and they're the best closer on the entire team, and then they run into a wall one week and they're like, I suck at this, I'm terrible. And it's just not true. That's why I've never made decisions based on the outcomes with salespeople. Like I'll never just let someone go after a bad week or a bad month. It's the habits that are being formed. And the biggest habit that I look for is ownership. Whenever I see a salesperson that's blaming the leads or blaming a circumstance or making an excuse, I let go of those types of reps. Whenever they come in to a meeting and they say, dude, this pissed me the hell off and I should have closed this deal and I couldn't overcome this one thing and I need help, dude, music to my ears. So don't
Felt
get
like I
your,
let her down. It was like super personal for me. It took 5 minutes after the call, and I just went and prayed, and I was like, God help me, because I'm pissed.
you should be pissed.
Yeah.
It's good. Because there's going to be a top of the mountain where you're making a lot of money and you feel awesome. And it's easy in that moment to take your foot off the gas. Most people do. Most people do. When you got to really work for it and it's hard and it's not easy, and you just not just getting on with a bunch of laydowns. I'll tell you guys a quick story in just a moment. But when it's really hard and it sucks and you get that first close and you say, I can do this. Like I'm actually making a tremendous amount of progress. This is not as hard as I thought it was. That's where you start to develop character. You start to develop leadership, start to develop like some tenacity about the calls that you're taking. And you take ownership over the fact that they didn't close and it wasn't the lead quality and it wasn't the marketing. It was you not showing up and not being your best. You're winning. You're making progress. It's hard to find people that will actually take ownership over their own life because it's easy to blame. It's easy to get mad. There's so many conversations that I'll have where reps will come to me and they're in the dumps and they want to quit and they want to give up. And I can tell you the moment that you want to give up the most, the moment you want to quit the most is when you're the closest that you could possibly be to breaking through. Those are the facts. So don't give up. You cannot fail if you don't quit. Realize that. Okay. That aside, on the first offer that I ever closed for, I got the opportunity because I had invested into one of the coaches' mentorship programs and I did well with the mentorship. So he let me close for him. And it was a really good offer. Okay. They gave me the job. And I remember I was sitting on like the interview and I'd never done an interview in this high ticket space before. I'd worked at like a restaurant and like a car dealership. Like a car porter. I just drive the cars around. I had no sales experience. Okay, so I'm getting on and I got a little button on. I got this blaring white light on my face and I'm like sweating bullets, super nervous for the interview. The interview goes by. This guy does not crack a smile. He doesn't laugh. He just sits there totally stonewalled. And he gets to the end and he says, hey, I'll let you know if you got it. You'll know by the end of the day. This is at like 6 p.m. And I'm like, okay. So I get off, crickets. I don't hear anything from this guy. And I'm like, I didn't get it. Okay, this is 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And so wake up on the Saturday, check my phone, nothing. Going back and forth, I told my parents that I didn't get the job. And at noon, I get a phone call from a random number that I don't recognize. I pick up the phone and it's the manager and he says, hey man, you got the job. You start on Monday. I'm going to send you some material to go through that material by Monday. And I was like, okay, for sure. Send it over. So I get the material and I open it up and it's about 45 pages of sales calls. Okay. He says, go through every single one of those calls. There's about 46 hours of material and I had about 48 hours to work with. Less than that because it was noon. Okay. He said, go through all of those calls and take 5 to 10 sentences on every single call. And I want you to document all of that. And I want you to role play the script 10 to 15 times before Monday. And I'm like, S-H-I-T. So I scrambled my computer and I just sit there for probably about 12 hours. I just sit there going through all the material, practicing, role playing when I can, like going through it and just getting it done. Get it done. There's no excuses. You got to get it done. No one's going to come and save you. Nobody's going to do it for you. And so I did it. And it was hard. And I went through all the material and I got on the role play and I passed the role play and I started taking calls. Okay. Now for this offer, it had a really well-nurtured YouTube audience. Okay. So everyone who's getting on wants to buy. And I got psyched out because I'm like, dude, I'm so good at this. I'm the top closer on the offer. I don't need to work on skill set. They'll just buy. I wasn't even taught how to handle or think about it or any objections at all. This is what my manager said. If they don't have the full $8 grand, take what they have. That's it. So people would say, hey, Tristan, I love the program. I want to do it. I just don't have the full 8K, but I have 5K. And I would just close. And I was closing at like 60%. I was the top closer. Awesome. There was like 6 other closers, all different ages. And that went on for about 2 months. And I thought I was hot, you know what? And then we changed all the marketing, right? So it goes from super warm YouTube leads that just want to pay to totally cold, where people during the sales call are calling my CEO that Asian guy. They don't even know his name. And we're getting to the end of the call and they start saying, this sounds good, buddy. I need to think about it. Okay. I went an entire week and I'd never heard that objection in 2 months. And they start saying, I need to think about it. I need to think about it. Every single day, 6 calls a day, getting my wiener slammed in every day. And it was demoralizing because it's just me, dude. It's just me sitting in my house taking these calls. No one understands what's going on in the outside world. And I'm petrified because I can't get it done. And I haven't been doing the work, right? I've just been reading a script. And there comes this point, it was the Friday. I hadn't closed a door the entire week. I'm terrified of being fired. I've had multiple calls with my manager saying, what do I do? I don't know how to close any of these people. And the manager had no idea how to coach me. He didn't know how to close. Okay. So I'm stuck in this place where I could get fired, right? I've gone like 2 for 13 or 14 on sales calls. I'd been the top closer the entire time. And I remember on my final call, I took my laptop and I slammed it as hard as I could. And I went out in the street and I was having a panic attack because I thought I was going to get fired. Okay. So that's where I was. If you don't think I've been in your shoes, you're wrong. Now, this is the 2 types of people that we're talking about, right? There's one type of person who can slam the laptop and say, woe is me. It's not my fault. It's the leads. They suck. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I haven't been doing the work. And then there was me. And I said, I suck at this. I'm not good at this. I don't know how to overcome any of these objections. So I found a sales coach and I paid him $3,000 that Friday night. I got all of his material and I went through it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, every single day, going through all that content, practicing role playing, building out a whole framework for how to overcome these objections. In the following week, I closed $50,000 and I had like a 75 or 85% close rate. Okay. So there are 2 types of people in this equation. And anybody can complain and throw the blame game and make excuses and talk about how hard it is. Or we can put a line in the sand and we can say, I'm going to do everything in my power from here on out, and I will not quit until I'm at my goal and beyond. So I challenge you, because that decision that I made in that moment has changed my life. I've never looked back. It's always about progressing and making the decisions that I need to make to get closer towards my goal at all costs. And no one is going to do that for you. Hopefully that inspires some people.
100%.
Yeah, if it was easy, dude, everybody would be doing it. It's not easy. It's very hard. But that's why I say you have to become someone worthy of being followed. And that's why I can speak with so much conviction, not only with you guys, but on sales calls. Right. And if you don't think for a second I'm going to do everything in my power to get you to your goal, you're wrong. I will. And you will too for your prospects. It's that next level of like conviction. Like, I understand that you're scared. I get it. Because that's where I was. Not knowing if I was going to keep my job or not knowing if I was going to be able to pay my bills or leave my parents' house or whatever. But I did the work. And you got everything you need. You just got to do the work. Cool. Any sales related questions aside from Jonathan's question?
I have a few questions around the discovery part of the script. Could we run through it, but just tailor it at my niche? Because I feel it's a little bit more confusing with the guys that I'm dealing with compared to the examples that you've given in the course.
Sure. What specifically, like what area are you talking about?
So with the start, I put this question in the group, and I feel like you've clarified it a bit. But at the start, we're asking them like, how long has this been a goal?
Hmm.
But with my clients, they're just going through a breakup, so it hasn't been very long for them. So I feel like it's already taking the conversation off in a different direction. So
Sure.
should I be reframing it to
If
how
I
long
were
have
to
you
ask
been?
you and you were to speak from the mindset of your prospect, what's the outcome that you're looking to accomplish from like booking the call? What would your answer be?
As a potential prospect?
Yeah.
It would be either I'm looking to reconcile my relationship, I'm looking to move on and heal. Those are the main two.
Okay. Would you agree that the type of person you're talking to, like they have certain habits and certain decisions that they've made that have turned them into the person that has lost out on a relationship?
Yes.
So it's probably like confidence issues. It's probably like a lack of leadership. Maybe they say they're going to do something and they don't do it, or they have anger issues. Like there's so many different things that that person struggles with that have manifested into losing out on a relationship. So the goal would have to be more clear than just reconcile a relationship, if you know what I mean. Like there needs to be more depth, and maybe that can come from the content that you post where you're helping create more solutions or more awareness to where your prospect is actually at, to where when they come on the call they're more aware of what they're struggling with. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Because just reconciling a relationship is, it's tangible, but it's also not tangible because it's definitely not guaranteed to happen. But them becoming the person that they need to become to be able to maintain a long lasting relationship is different.
Mm.
You see what I mean?
I do, and I definitely explore the things that are contributing to the reason why the relationship has ended. But that's what I mean. Like I feel like it's now that we're exploring this, it's not going with the structure of how you've outlaid the discovery.
Yeah.
Like I'm now going to have to go in a different direction. So I'm a little bit confused.
It's okay. I mean, the whole, if we just take a step back and we remove all the questions, if we look at the framework, it's what's your goal? Like, what's the outcome you're looking to accomplish? And get a lot of clarity there. Not just like attract the woman or get the relationship. That's a byproduct of becoming the person they need to become. So, like, get clarity there. And then it's how long has that been the goal for? Because if you get the right goal, there's going to be a long time frame. Because if the goal was easily attained, they wouldn't be on the call with you. There's something they haven't figured out about themselves. There's something they can't solve. That's why they're with you. We got to figure out what that thing is. And then it's going to turn into, what have you tried over the time frame to put yourself in a position where you can actually reach your goal? So an example of that is like, I don't have any self-confidence. I'm overweight. I'm running to porn. Like there's so many different byproducts of a lack of confidence, a lack of security, a lack of like feeling like they're enough, which is causing them to run to a woman for validation, right? Or a relationship to feel like they're enough, for the woman to complete them, right? That's usually going to be your demo of person. Like if I can just have the girl, then I'll be complete. But what they don't realize is there's so many other areas in their life that are inadequate. Having the woman is not going to solve the problem. It's just going to be another rotating door of women until they realize that what they truly need is insert outcome. And that'll just come from your content. Because if you can make them more aware of the problems that they're facing, then they're going to come onto the call ready to tell you, well, I'm looking to become this man who can do X, Y, and Z. And I want to be able to attract a woman. How long has that been the goal for? Or it could be like I come on the call and I've lost a relationship with this woman, and now I feel all these different ways. I feel inadequate. I feel sluggish. I feel depressed. I feel all of these emotions. The time frame on that, like those are dire emotions that are not going to get better. They're emotions that are drastic enough for the time frame to not really matter. It's just futuring pacing, like, what are the ramifications if we don't make any changes? What are the ramifications if you don't get the help you need? Like, what if you just stay where you're at in all these different areas of your life? Don't focus too much on the time frames if the time frame is not as pertinent or important to your specific niche.
Okay.
But
And
really,
just in terms of, sorry, did you have more to add?
you can go.
Okay. Just in terms of then getting clear on what they have tried, and if they do have the sort of pattern of just researching, can you just sort of lay that out? Because what Etai was saying in the course and what you were saying was a bit different.
Yeah. So
if
the
they haven't
path
done
that
much,
you can usually take. What have you tried? Oh, I haven't really done much. You haven't done anything? Like, you haven't, like, watched any YouTube videos or going on TikTok or searched anything up? How did you get on this call? You just fell from the sky? No, I've done some research. The second you get something they've tried, it's what kind of results have you gotten doing it that way? What kind of results have you gotten? Now, you have to understand the reason why we're having the conversation is I want them to realize that what they're doing is not working. That's it. And once they realize that what they're doing is not working, the logical next step would be changing, right? So that's why I have the conversation of what have you tried? They're going to start telling me, oh, I tried this and that and this and that. What kind of results have you gotten? Not much. Would it be fair to say that at this point you're just stuck? Like, would that be a fair assessment? Yeah, I'm stuck. How long have you been stuck for? 6 months, 3 months, 2 months. Okay, well, it's statistically proven that having a coach or like a mentor gets you quicker and closer towards your goals. So when you realize that you were stuck 6 months ago, were you out there looking for a coach or a mentor so that you can acquire the knowledge or the skills you need to acquire to become goal? Or what have you done in that regard? Most of them are going to say nothing. No, I haven't. When they say no, I haven't done anything, there has to be a reason why they haven't done something. There has to. And it always boils down to the fact that having a coach takes money. And spending money without a guarantee that you're going to get to the result, a lot of people are not willing to do that. Right? So that's why at the end of the call, you're going to get that's more than I thought it was going to be. I need to do more research. I need to think about it. I need to talk to my partner. They're all, if you just wrap it all up, it's, I'm not certain that giving you money is going to get me to my goal. That's all it is. So if I can put you in a place mentally where you realize that doing something and taking action is much better than staying where you're at right now, I'm playing the right game. And if I can also reframe you on the idea that spending money is bad or investing in yourself is scary or a scam, any of that, if I can reframe that and get you to realize that everything in life is uncertain, nothing in life is guaranteed. And when you find a program that aligns with what you feel you need to get to your goal, you got to move and you got to do it now. That's where I'm being an effective leader. Because you can continue to wait and wish and hope and pray that God just snaps his finger and you become the person that you need to become, or you can take actions that align with you becoming that person. You got me?
I got you. And then just the labeling of what they're going through, that comes in there somewhere too.
Yeah. Because if you get to a place where you ask them, why haven't you done more? They say, I don't really know. Right? Like, as an example, we get to that phase where I'm like, have you been out there looking for a coach or mentor? They say no. I'd say, okay, well, this is not like a knock at the way you carry yourself. I can tell you work really hard and you care about yourself and you care about becoming the best version of yourself. So this is not like a knock on your head. But if I told you I wanted to start a business a year ago, or I wanted to lose 50 pounds a year ago, And all I've really done over the last 12 months is scroll on TikTok and take some notes and maybe watch some YouTube videos. Maybe I've like downloaded a free PDF. But I haven't ever actually invested into a coach, or I haven't ever actually started the business. A whole year's gone by. Would you really say I've done everything in my power to build that business? Yes or no? Would you really say I've done everything in my power to lose that weight? Yes or no? No. So, in your own opinion, what's held you back from doing more? Like, what's been in the way? And this is where we can spoon feed. Is it like analysis paralysis, where you have multiple different directions and you just don't know which one? Is it a fear that if you spend money and you invest in yourself, you're not actually going to get to the goal? Because that's really what it is. Like, if we can just call a spade and just stop beating around the bush and acting like we're afraid to talk about money, like he's on the call to invest into himself. And he's going to spend the money. He's either going to spend it on things that get him further away from his goal or closer. This is just the world we live in. Like, let's not be pansies about talking about money. It has to be something. And when they say, yeah, it's just, I don't want to make the wrong move. I don't want to get scammed. I don't want to. I've seen other people online that talk about blah, 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 and they're just scammers. Like, there's reasons as to why they haven't done anything. Or they would have joined a program already, or they would have invested in themselves already. That's labeling. So, do you feel like if you keep kind of taking notes and watching YouTube videos, but allowing fear to hold you back from taking action, you're actually going to become the person that you want to become specifically? Or do you feel like in order to get there, you need to start making some changes? Like, how do you feel? Pretty clear on that?
Yeah. And
It takes
just
time.
one last thing. What if they do say, I have been looking at coaches? Then you
What have you looked
explore like,
into?
well, why haven't
What have you
you?
looked into? And
Yeah,
then
I've
it's
been on
like,
a few different calls with a
okay,
few different coaches.
great. So you've been on a couple calls, so you know what this is all about, right? Like, you kind of get the gist of talking about your goals and what you want in your life and like what happens if you don't make any changes. So we definitely won't do that again. Um, I guess, could I ask, like, what's been in the way of you actually taking action on those things? Because I would assume it gets pretty monotonous just hopping on call after call after call and talking about what you want, but not actually following through with actions, right?
Yeah, I just didn't feel like the other coaches could help me.
Were there students inside those programs that were helped and got to the outcome?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You think so? Well, if it worked for them, why wouldn't it work for you?
Yeah, I'm
How
not
would you
sure.
ever know if you haven't stepped up and actually tried? The reason I'm pressing you so hard is because you're going to do the same thing to me at the end of this call. So why not just get it out of the way? See what I mean? Like, you're literally just going to do the exact same thing at the end of my call. What's the point? You've already gone through the future pace. You've already gone through the consequence. You talked about how you got to make a change. You heard about the program, and then you heard the price and you did nothing. It's the same thing. What's the point? It's the definition of insanity. And then my question is, when you find a program that you feel, in your own opinion, checks off the boxes and has what you need in order to get you to your goal, how long do you wait before you take action? Because if the answer isn't right now, we have a problem. Because you're just going to do the same thing to me. Unless I am able to reframe you and get you to realize that that's not serving you, that there is no perfect program, that I've invested tens of thousands of dollars on coaches, and it's not easy to do. It sucks. No one wants to spend their hard-earned money, but everyone wants to get to the result, right? And if you can pay someone who's already there that can speed up the process, how much more money are you going to make? How much more time are you going to save? Like, you becoming the person who can make 10K a month or 30K a month or 50K a month, which is 500 grand a year, right? Which is $5 million over 10 years. That's a huge jump. Is that worth 5K? Is that worth anything less than 5K? Like, help me to understand. But it's all perspective, right? And if I have the experience and I have the leadership and I'm able to challenge you and hold your feet to the fire throughout the entire call, you're going to listen to me because you feel that I'm the guy to get you to your goal. Isaiah, do you have a question?
Yeah, so I was gonna ask, what if it's more of like a logical answer? Because I find it like a simple process if they haven't done anything. But when I ask, like, so what have you done to put yourself in that position to start a rental portfolio? And then if someone says, oh, well, I've done a fix and flip before, or I actually own a property right now, but I use my own funds, and so I'll come to y'all maybe. I've seen Kristen told us we don't have to use any of our cash credit. So that becomes like this logical thing instead of them having to change personally. Do I just
It
make the
sounds
sell?
it
Well,
sounds like you're trying to make a B2B logical conversation more B2C and more emotional. And so
right.
I want to help you understand like the flow of your conversation is not going to be emotional.
Hmm.
It's going to be, what is your goal? Where are you at right now? And what would you say, in your own opinion, Isaiah, are the biggest challenges or bottlenecks that are preventing you from reaching your goal? They're going to start listing off things that they're struggling with, things that they don't understand, gaps in their knowledge, aka gaps between where they are and where they want to be. And then the conversation is going to turn into, okay, and so how long has that been going on for? 6 months, 12 months. So what have you been trying over the last 12 months to actually solve these issues, these bottlenecks, so that you can reach your goal?
Hmm.
And then they're going to start talking about different things that they've tried. I've researched, I've blah, 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 blah. And I'm getting them to realize that what they're trying is not working and they have to change. It's the same like structure, but it's different. You see how it's different?
Right.
Now, in the pitch, I'm solving all the bottlenecks and challenges that are preventing them from reaching their goal. And you don't have to focus nearly as much on the future pace of consequence. You can do ramifications in the consequence,
Hmm.
like how long can we continue down this path? How long would it take to get to goal if you keep doing what you've been doing? Like those conversations are good. What happens if nothing changes? What are the ramifications if nothing changes to build that urgency? But they will buy if they're certain that your program solves their problems. And that's the only reason they'll buy. Only reason they'll buy because they're more B2B. It's very logical. Just like if someone came to me and they said, I suck at sales and sales is preventing me from growing my business. I would need to show that person exactly why what I do is different from everything they've tried in order for it to make sense that by working with me and giving me their money, they're actually going to reach their goal. Does that make more
Got it.
sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I literally speak to both avatars. Like the one close I had was more B2C,
Yep. B2C
and
is
then
easier.
yeah, when I talk to the B2B people where they have like these logistical problems, I'm
They're like,
just
so how would y'all go about handling this extremely specific scenario?
right.
And you're like, I would just
Yeah,
talk to the CEO and ask them more about, like, give you more information on how to handle those more specific questions, and then just start building your process more towards um, figuring out what the problems are, what the bottlenecks are, what the challenges are, and then building a plan from there on how to solve those problems specifically.
right. And then I also feel on my offer, I know you said to take ownership. I do, to not blame the marketing or the leads, but at the
But
same time, some people come on the call and they just don't know what we do. Like I had two people who were like, "Yeah, I don't even know what you guys do." And then
do y'all have a VSL?
so it's just one YouTube video with loud music playing in the background. The founder talking to each other.
That'll solve your problems.
Yeah, so I
Be a
sent
good
over
VSL.
a VSL framework to the owner. He's like, "Yeah, we'll get it done." But I feel like if they had like some social proof as well, because there's not much testimonials. Like I don't know, how do I not convince, but how do I just convey
You
to the
can.
business owner this is important?
Well, with the business owner, I would say, hey, these are the amount of calls that I took this last week, and these are the amount of leads that I spoke to that were not nurtured, that didn't know what we did, that I could not overcome their objections. And this is how much business you're missing out on because these are all paid in fulls that we should have taken in because we could help them. They just didn't know we could help them. And I would
Right,
tally all that and I would say, you're missing out on $30,000 a week of business because you don't have a VSL. This needs to be done now.
right. Yeah, I feel
And
like
when
I'm
they
in.
say we'll do it, I would say, give me a time frame.
Oh, okay. That's a good
Like
one.
by when.
I need to do that 100%.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm explaining what we do and not how we can help, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah. You're not, I mean, you're the VSL at that point.
right, right.
And that's not your job. It's not your job. Okay, guys. I wanted to review a call. If we have the time for it, unless you guys just have more questions that we can wrap back and forth on. Jonathan, why don't we watch the objections that you got on your call?
Okay, sounds good. We'll grab it.
I know it's the most fun thing in the world to put your sales call up in front of everybody and get beat up. Let's get better. Sick. All right. Let's get better. I'm gonna assume that's about right here.
We'll give you a roadmap call to scale your business eventually from 30 to 50K per month. 10K was just the starting number, like I mentioned previously. We have several students right now making 50K a month, so eventually we'll get there as well. And then we map out execution for the next 4 to 6 months because nobody's ever needed to, because they all hit 50 or more by their 6 months. Students that really draw that line in the sand, like I mentioned, and take decisive action to change their life. He lets me bring it down for the one time to $5,000 because we've seen that students that take action actually get the best results in the program. How does that land with you?
That's a lot compared to the other programs I've seen. That's a lot. Mm.
A lot compared to what?
Um, mm. I like all what you said. Even
When they start waffling like this, you just take the lead. Hey, before we even get into tuition and finances, like that's the easy part. And we would never allow that to be the reason why you can't start. Zoom user, could I ask, in your own opinion, do you actually believe and feel that the structure that I've walked you through can get you to specific goal? Because that's literally the most important part. Just take the lead. Because she's already very uncertain. So when you let them sit and it just gets more uncertain and more pressure and more intrusive thoughts that say leave, we lose. So when you take the lead and you simplify the decision, you help them understand that making this decision is inferior to the cost of staying where they are. And you've done a good enough job up in here of building that authority in their mind where they trust and value your opinion. They're going to start to shift the way they think and the way that they believe. And they're going to take actions that are congruent with the new identities that you give them. So just be aware of that. Let's see where you go.
line with what I want to do.
It's really hard to hear her.
I couldn't hear her either. I struggled the whole time.
Dude, if you ever can't hear somebody, please tell them.
I did a couple times, but yeah.
I'd be like, hey, I still can't hear you. Fix your
She
mic.
also, at the beginning, she also did that back to back with me. I told you about the other call where she didn't want to share her screen, but I did what you told me where I said I went to go for an answer. So she finally put her screen up. So it was like the same call, deja vu, back to back.
But the 5,000 is a lot for me right now.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Could I just ask in your own opinion before you do go and think this over? Do you feel that what I've walked you through, as far as what it provides to you, can actually get you to your goal?
Yes, it can.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So she kept saying yes, but then it was like I couldn't understand why. Like she kept saying yes, but it
See
was
where it
never
goes?
moving.
Well, you're doing it right though.
Okay, that's what I wondered.
Don't beat yourself up. You're doing this correctly. This is the right
Okay.
way to do it.
Okay. Okay.
You said, and
Why do you feel like it can though?
Because, dude, I'll tell you this, Jonathan. Like, there have been times where I, I'm like laying into these people, and they're like, "You're right. I know you're right. I know I need to do this," and they still won't do it. And whose fault is that?
Yeah.
Is that my fault? No, it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, the fact
So
that you can't pay your bills and you can't provide for your family the way that you want to, and you won't make changes, I am not losing sleep at night.
yeah.
I can't. I can't care about everybody.
Would you say that like even you, Tristan, like there's some people you can't close, or would you say like
Yes, dude.
everyone's close? Okay. I didn't know if
Yes.
everyone's closable, but it's like
No.
we suck as people, and so like we
No,
mess up
no, 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 no,
sometimes, or
no,
like
no, no, no.
okay,
No, man.
okay,
I mean, dude, does everyone change?
yeah,
Answer is no. No.
no,
Not everyone changes. No. Some people like the idea of changing, just like some people like the idea of accountability. But when it actually comes,
gotcha.
they don't want anything to do with it. That's why I'll start to use it. There's a certain offer that I sell, and I think, Drew, you would benefit from this a lot if you really use this. Whenever I'm going through the program, I'm like, what aspect of the program specifically gives you certainty that by joining hands with me and my team, we're actually going to get you to where you want to be? They'll always say accountability.
Mm.
Having the accountability of you like breathing over my shoulder and making sure I get it done is what has me certain that going with you is going to get me there. And I'll say, that's so interesting. I don't hear that often, like that accountability piece. And what's so interesting about accountability is like having accountability is very different than liking the idea of having accountability. Because oftentimes people like the idea of having accountability, but then accountability comes and you're so used to going down this path, and all of a sudden someone else is pulling you away from the path you've always gone and shoving you a different direction, which is very uncomfortable, right? So I'll ask again, do you like the idea of having accountability or do you actually want accountability? No, I actually want accountability. Do you want to be held accountable right now? You see what I mean? These are word tracks. I'm slowly putting the ball on the tee and I'm waiting to bash that thing into the fifth bleacher. But I got to know how to set it up because it's the truth. You know, people who struggle with porn, they say, I just need accountability. And then they have it and they're like, I don't even want to share. They're struggling with porn. Right. And that's the truth. But it's uncomfortable. Getting to your goal is not going to be comfortable. That's why we can't agree that the way our prospects think is the right way to think. It's not. It's the wrong way to think. They need my help. And it's more than just getting in my program. It's changing the way they think, act, and behave and believe about themselves. And it takes time.
Why do I
Why do
feel
you
like
feel
that?
it? Yeah, why do you feel like it can?
Because everything I want to hear to help me get there, I heard.
So when you find a program that checks all the boxes for you, that aligns with quote unquote everything you needed to hear, how long do you wait before you take action? Her words, not mine. Okay. Now,
I'll say that next time.
yeah,
Good.
it's the truth. It's the truth. But there's also a phase of this in the objections where you kind of have to bob and weave for a little bit. You can't just punch them in the face. Because if you come across too aggressive too quick, they just completely close off. And it's like, you've lost. You're done. So it's kind of like you have to sit and wait and you got to probe and just clarify a couple things. And then slowly but surely, as you go through your process, you get all this leverage. You have all the money. You're certain that this program is going to get you to your goal. We have a plan that works and you still won't move forward. Would it be fair to say that you're just looking for a bit of certainty that what I do is actually going to get you to your goal. Would that be fair? Yes. This is where we're going to start getting to personal stories, analogies. The personal story you can share is investing a lot of money into knowledge and skills, burning the boats behind you, having no way out, anxiety, fear. Am I making the right move? Is this going to work out? Right? But you did it anyway. Become someone worthy of being followed. I can't tell you to invest and liquidate your bank account if I haven't done that myself. Just like nobody goes to a fat guy and asks him for nutrition and exercise advice. It's the same thing.
And do you feel that's what held you back in the past from getting success?
Hmm. Yeah, it's a lot for me, a lot for me right now. And this is what
Would you
you pay
say,
upfront. You pay that upfront.
yeah. And when you say a lot,
It depends. It depends. And to be honest, like the finances is never going to be the reason why we can or we can't help you. Just so I understand, name, are you in a position where you don't necessarily have the full funding and you're going to have to go and find it in order to actually start? Or is it more that you do have the full funding and you're just a bit apprehensive in moving forward? Just so I understand. One of the two. Okay, well, no worries. I mean, worst case, you and I can just create a plan for the future. But based on what you're working with, I may be able to create a plan for you so that you could actually start, so that you can actually acquire the knowledge and the skills you need to acquire to make the 10K a month that you've been wanting to make. Is that something you're opposed to exploring? No. Checking, savings, investments, credit, what's coming in at the end of the month, like that whole shebang. And then you make a recommendation based on their circumstance. And you're still going to have fear and you're still going to have like limiting beliefs. But so far, I'm not sensing uncertainty in the program itself. I'm sensing like whether it's people around her that have been burned or things she's seen online or a lack of trust from previous experiences. Maybe it was a relationship. There's something that's happened in her life where she's risk averse. Maybe it's just the way she thinks. Maybe she's a data analyst. I don't know. Right. But there's these outside factors that you're going to have to overcome. And a lot of the times you can do this here because you're going to ask them, what have you tried? And they're going to say nothing. And there has to be a reason why they haven't done anything. There has to be a reason why they haven't done more. There has to be something in the way. And if you can ask the right questions and reframe the way they think, where they realize that everything is uncertain, and the only thing that is certain is if they don't make a change, their life is going to continue to suck. That's the only certainty because it's really hard right now. Just like spending $5,000 is really hard. Just like running your own business and having $50,000 or $100,000 a month in inventory is hard, right? Like it's all hard. It's all hard. But would you rather be the woman on the other side of the bridge where $5,000 is not a lot and $100,000 is? Or would you rather be the person who continues to slam their head against the wall each and every single day, hoping and wishing and praying and thinking, what if? Both are hard. Cool thing is you have a choice. And if you say you want the hard that's on the other side of the bridge, show me. What are the actions? Don't just talk about it. What do you need to do? What are the actions you need to take? See what I mean, Jonathan?
yeah. Do you mean that you don't have the 5,000? Or is it that, is it that you don't have it and you just need to figure out a payment plan? Or is it that you have it and it's just more of a fear thing where it's like, ooh, I've done this in the past, I got burned.
See how that's not exactly the question?
Yeah.
It's okay. Learn from it. So is it
Yeah,
more
messed
so
up.
that you don't have the full 5K and you have to go and find it in order to actually start, or is it more that you do have the full 5K, but you're just a bit apprehensive? Those are the two options. It's not the payment plan or the fear. You'll get there. You will get there. But I don't want to increase the pressure of you need to make a decision right now. Like I just want clarity on what is coming up.
I'm afraid to make the same mistake twice.
That and um, that's what you last with what you just said. What you said.
Same mistake twice. What does
She
that
had
mean?
already mentioned she got burned at the beginning of the call.
Ah,
That's why I
of
said
course
that.
she did.
That's why I brought that up. That's why I said that.
Dude. Okay, so obviously we don't have all the time in the world to go through this. We'll watch this tomorrow on our meeting. But I'm very curious to know when that came up here, how you handled that. Because
Not
whenever I
correctly.
figure out that they spent like 5, 10 grand, I'm like very empathetic. I'm like, that must have been devastating for you. Does that have you at all apprehensive to investing again? And then I'm getting into her marriage, and I'm like, you're married, right? You have a family, children, okay? And I don't mean to assume anything. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is the man that you're currently married to now, is he the first guy that you ever went out on a date, like high school sweethearts, or did it like take time to find him? No, it took some time. Yeah, I'm sure you had to go through a lot of dates, and I'm sure there were a lot of them. You're a pretty woman, right? This is where the humor comes in. And she's like, yeah, there were a lot. And I'm like, well, what if you would have just thrown the towel in the first time a guy stood you up, or you had an argument, or you broke your heart? Like, would you have ever found the man that you're currently married to now, the husband and father of your children? No. Would you say that like everything that you had to go through to find him was worth it? Why was it worth it? So do you feel like if you throw the towel in based on this really bad experience that you had, that you're ever gonna make the income that you want to make and have the freedom that you want to have that you deserve for your family? You see where I'm going with that? You see how all that legwork and like I'm not moving unless she says, no, I'm absolutely willing to do everything I need to do. And I'm not going to stop until I get there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think you went and asked deeper questions. I asked surface level questions. We both got yeses, but since mine were surface level, I'm dealing with all this crap for the last 30 minutes on the end of the call. You're not.
Yep.
So I need to go deeper, and I'm going to go deeper. I'm learning.
Amen.
You know?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, man of God. It just takes time, right?
Yeah.
This is 2.5 years of sales calls, thousands of sales calls, thousands of hours of call reviews, thousands. Okay, it's not going to just flow out of your brain. If it did, then man, you'd be like photographic memory or something. Or you were literally a prodigy born to be a sales guy. So I don't think anybody is who would want to do this forever. But it takes time. And if you're willing to work very, very hard and diligently and show up with questions and never quit, you're going to be just like I am. Just like I am. I'm no different than you. Okay.
That's the goal.
It just takes time. It takes working at it. Let's keep going. We got 5 minutes.
And also, that's a lot to put up for me right now. So, but I can revisit it again when I know, even if I let go of 5,000 doesn't do anything to me, I can do that. 5,000 is a lot. And I know you put it down from 7,500 to 5,000, which is good, but 5,000 is a lot for me right now. And I actually see some program um, where they charge, some would say 950, some would say 475 one time payment. But at the same time too, I was skeptical too about that. Everything you said, I heard it and I liked it. But for me to put down 5,000 right now, it's not for me. So I'll just keep taking until I find one that can still offer me what you're offering, at the same time, still be able to set up an Amazon uh, business.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, doing something for the first time, it's always going to be scary, right? When's the last time you did something for the first time that did scare you a little bit?
I love the word track. This is great. Great word track that you know this in the right section. In the right section.
Got
When
one.
you realize that they've been burned,
Yeah.
right? You wouldn't use this exact word track. That would be for someone who has never invested, right?
Yeah.
Because there has to have been a fear that held them back from investing. But the word track, having that at your disposal, 10 out of 10. Love that. Love that. It's good.
Like even the one I
Because you remember what you're saying is, can you walk me through a decision in your life that you did for the first time and there wasn't any fear? She's already made this kind of decision before. So she could literally walk back to that decision and be like, no, I wasn't scared at that time, but since they burned me so bad, now I am. You know, so that's why I would go to her family, or I would go to a circumstance that she resonates with, and I would get her to realize that just because you fell off your bike 25 years ago and you got rashes and burns all over your knees and arms, it doesn't mean that if I put you on a bike today, you wouldn't be trembling and falling down in the fetal position, would you? What about when you were a kid and you were walking for the first time? You think you just got up and ran a marathon? You think you fell over a couple times? Didn't we all? Driving a bike, swimming, first date, right? First job interview. Like there's so many different things that you could pull from. Anytime we're doing something for the first time and it has weight and it matters and we want to get the result, it's always scary. Because there are no guarantees in life. People die every single day. And nothing is promised. Okay? All right, guys, we got 2 minutes. Who wants to give me some takeaways on the call review? Who's got something? Somebody who hasn't talked yet. I get to be a teacher. My teacher would always call on me because I wouldn't talk in class. Who's got something? Please talk to me.
Just reinforcing what Jonathan said, you know, the surface level she's in, but there's this deeper thing sitting there that's not being addressed. So she can't, no matter how much she says yes, that thing is going to pull her back.
Yeah.
So just being able to go deeper into that and have that harder conversation might not have gotten her across the finish line, but it sure would have revealed a lot more.
Yeah. The thing that I saw that led to that, Jonathan, was think of it as like sitting duck. And it was like almost like you were waiting for her to say yes and you're waiting for her to overcome the objection herself, but she can't do that.
Yeah.
She's ill-equipped to do that, and that's your job. And that's where taking the lead comes in and being able to slowly move the needle where they realize this is not the scariest decision in the world. I can do this. You've done it, and you're telling me this is what I should do. And I believe that you're telling the truth. Like, I don't believe you're trying to steal from me or scam me. I really believe what you're saying. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Like the guy who eats really poor diet, he gets to a place where he's 300 pounds. He would say the same thing, just like she's saying 5,000 is a lot. He would say going to the gym 3 days a week is a lot because that's his perspective based on his decisions, right? But it's not true. Like $5,000 is not a lot of money for me, but I've made certain decisions and taken certain actions to put myself in a position where it's not a lot. Just like losing 100 pounds, right? Which I've done. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort. I wanted to quit. I wanted to give up. But if I had to do it again, I'd be able to do it again. Okay. But that's my perspective, right? I have that perspective now and I can empower that person to think differently. Because if we always think the same, we're always going to be where we're at, which is not where they want to be, which is why they booked the call with you. You know me?
Yeah, that's why I need to show up as the leader, help lead them because they're stuck, and it's up to me.
100%. It starts in those cold plunges in the morning where your brain's telling
Yeah.
you no, you do it anyway.
But the good news is she told me she'd pay by 8 p.m. tonight. So 1 more hour, guys.
Yeah, dude. Hey, if she does, praise the
Yeah,
Lord.
it got to the point where, as you saw, I kept getting stuck. We got nowhere, and I had to go. So I was like, "Look, she just wasn't gonna do it." And then she's like, "I'll pay tonight." So I just let her go. I didn't fight her anymore. I was like, "Okay, you pay tonight." So yeah,
You're like,
so
don't
gotta
even
work on
bother.
that.
I'd be like, don't bother.
Yeah.
I don't want it right now, or I don't want it at all.
Where can we get the recording, Tristan?
I will. What I usually do is I'll post it on YouTube and then I'll put it in the Skool Community under coaching calls, but I can also just drop a Fathom link whenever it's done. Whatever's easier.
Okay.
Good, everybody?
Fathom link, as in the Slack community?
I'll put it in Skool. I'll just drop it. Call recording.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Cool, guys. Valuable. Got value out of this today.
100%.
Starting off
Absolutely.
Monday with a bang. Good stuff, guys. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all hopping on here. It's much more enjoyable to have 10 people than it is to have 2 people. So I appreciate you guys. All right. Let's have a great week. Fill up the community with wins, and I'll see you.